came out really good. It came
Yeah.
out really good.
No, it couldn't have been better, I don't think. And this is our first Thanksgiving without Aunt Lizzie,
Yeah.
so it was kind of a little hard in some aspects. And one of the sweet things was that Aunt Lizzie always made the pies, made the dessert,
Very true.
made the pound cake, and I she never gave me the recipes. Never.
Now she gave.
Whenever I said something about a recipe, she said I'll make it for you.
Mm-hmm.
So it was such a treat because in fact I was trying to figure out a dessert. I had forgotten about dessert altogether, and Sister Erica uh, gave me a call, asked me about my menu. I was telling her what we were gonna have, and she said, you don't have no dessert. And I was like, what? I certainly don't. And she's on the phone, and let me tell you, she's visually impaired. She's
Right.
on the phone trying to give me a recipe for bread pudding. And she was like, first you make a custard. I'm like, a custard?
She started off complex.
Right. Yeah. You know how to make a custard. And she started telling me where you're going to make, but she started off real, you've got everything that it takes to make a delicious bread pudding. And she said, first you make a custard. What?
She wanted to encourage you.
Yeah.
Ahead
And,
of time.
and then, I was trying to say, now look, I got some sliced strawberries in the freezer. And I think I have a few of those little sponge cups.
Oh yeah.
All I need is whipped cream. She was like, girl, you can't make make those throw some store bought stuff up there now that you have all of this, wonderful dinner. You can't you gotta have something homemade. I was like, I don't have time for that. And I call you and you got all complicated.
Well, I said that I could make peach cobbler,
Yeah.
and you decided against the peach cobbler.
Well, because the sister oh shucks, Sister Winnie had sent that giant can of peaches, to which I think she wanted peach cobbler that she was gonna make her the peach cobbler, not we eat the.
It was enough to make two. It was
But then
enough.
you like to make that cornbread peach cobbler too,
Well,
huh?
thank you for telling everybody.
Oh, that's not good.
Well, I mean, that's how
Your granny
my
made it.
granny used to make
Well, guess how my grandmother used to make it?
it.
Mama Rebecca. She would use biscuits.
And I've seen blackberry cobblers done with biscuits.
She would use biscuits. She could do it in a hurry, and it was delicious. And that was her fast dessert. And she could do it with biscuits in a wood stove.
We were talking about a wood stove the other day, and I was saying, that they actually are still making wood burning stoves.
Why do you say actually? Like,
Well, because people are. I mean, nowadays people are almost acting like.
they want to microwave it. If it can't be microwaved, they don't want to eat it.
Well, no,
What?
like gas stoves, like the old version. But we tell you, nothing tastes like gas stove. Electric just doesn't taste like gas.
I hear people say that.
It's
I,
very true.
well, I can't say that I can cook on a wood stove, but I can cook on either, and it comes out good. You're listening to Let's Talk. I'm your host, Stephanie Anthony, and we're talking about our holiday. I didn't finish telling you that Sister Catherine showed up with not only Aunt Lizzie's sweet potato pie, her recipe, but she threw in a pecan pie,
Mm-hmm.
as well, which you and my sister Claudine seem to have enjoyed immensely.
It was good. It was good.
You say that without any reservation.
It was good. Very good.
Hmm.
Very good. It was delicious.
And she had all kinds of her dish was the greens.
And everybody that had it said it was delicious.
Well, I mean, first of all, it was my favorite collards.
Mm-hmm.
They were fresh out the ground
That's
collards.
right. You don't really like mustards.
I don't.
You know what's funny?
What?
Is Sister Catherine and I, for the last couple of years, have been driving up to A Meat
No.
to go and
That's where y'all go?
yeah, to go and
You know
get
where I
them.
thought y'all was going?
Where?
St. Amount.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
relative, yeah, relative.
Oh, it's on the Amy River. That's what you saying?
Yeah.
Near.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right, but anyway.
But and every year, you would be, and it was so funny because I said to Sister Catherine, I was like, there regular. In the grocery store, vegetables do not smell like vegetables straight out of the ground. I was like, vegetables straight out of the ground smell strong.
Yeah.
And I was like, I said,
It's real food.
right.
It hasn't been, fixed so that it can stay on the shelf for 20 years.
Right, and I was like, I said, you can't, right.
Yes.
And I was like, I said, like, she gave me some a couple of years back, and normally she cooks them. She gave me some to cook.
Gave you what to cook?
Some greens. And then another time she gave me some onions. The
Wow.
smell was so strong.
Intense.
It was like
Real onions.
all in my hair. No matter how much washing I did, that smell was strong.
But it's good.
They taste delicious.
Yeah.
And
In
so-
fact, I want to thank you for bringing me some green onions.
No, you're welcome.
I was impressed, and I'm going to be using them today on my Irish potatoes.
And so the funny thing was we were having that conversation, and then we stopped by a store to pick up something. Walked past the vegetables section, and I said, "What do you smell?" And she said, "Nothing." And I was
That's
like,
right. You're in a whole grocery store
Yep.
full of vegetables, and you smell nothing.
nothing.
Well, that brings me to we're doing the community garden,
Mm-hmm.
and Elijah, you're planting stuff at your house, huh? So how's it going?
Good.
What did you plant?
I planted some
Sweet
potato.
potato? Okay. A regular Irish. As we used to say, Irish potatoes. Anyway, go on. What else did you do?
And one that the man told me
A lazy flower? Alright.
like that one, like it's just like the
Oh,
and it grows big, but it just
alright. Alright. And have you seen anything sprout up yet?
they have babies on it.
They have babies. You have one? What's a porcupine tree? You can't eat that, huh? Oh, okay. I was just wondering.
It sounds like you can, but you know when you said that, what I thought about
What's that?
cactus.
Oh.
Yeah, now cactuses have water in them.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what my grandma used to put on.
Oh, aloe vera.
Aloe vera. It's in the cactus family.
Right.
Mhm.
But they say if you ever get caught in the desert, look for a cactus.
I heard that. But, I
Here's
don't...
my thing. You got to be caught in the desert with a sword or something to be
A
able
very
to.
sharp knife.
And then here's my thing. Once you cut it, isn't all the water gonna spill out on the ground?
It's not like that. It's just moist.
It's just moist.
Yeah, it's not. You not gonna be getting you a cup of water out. It don't work like that.
We were at sister. Oh goodness, what's her name? And she had this satsuma tree, but the satsuma tree was surrounded by this briar bush. And she went back there
Sister
to
Joyce,
right, and got stuck behind the briar bush.
Shucks. That was regular oranges, and that particular brand. That's how they grow.
It was so creepy.
Yeah, it stuck me in the hand, had my skin sitting up.
One of them stabbed me in the head. I was like,
but it reminds you of the crowns of thorns.
It just creeped me out.
Of Christ, really. They had a lot of, and she was blocked in. I was trying to get her out. We needed gloves.
Right. The only other time I think I've ever experienced anything like that was when I fell in a briar patch when I was little. And I just didn't know what to do. Like we
don't have no briar patches in Louisiana, do they?
Yeah.
Briar patches? Really?
Yeah. I was reaching for blackberries. My grandmother had a blackberry bush. And I saw one, it was just big and juicy, and I was like, ooh, how's that? And it was way in there. I reached in and fell in and just started screaming because every time I tried to turn to the right or the left to get my
out.
balance and get out, I got stuck more, and I was
Now your granny must have thought you were being skinned alive.
We were all out there.
Oh, she was with you.
Right. And everybody started yelling, stay still, don't move. And my dad just reached in and grabbed me by the shirt and yanked me out. And
that's one way to do it.
Ooh, but I mean, like, you fall in the briar patch and there's no relief. You can't turn to the right or the left without getting stabbed. You can't get your balance. You just in there.
You in there. You're listening to Let's Talk. I'm your host, Stephanie Anthony. Today's program was produced by Louisiana Democracy Project, a nonprofit social justice organization dedicated to the people and the long-term best interests of the community at large. Louisiana Democracy Project was established back in 1998. The mission is to educate, advance, encourage, and increase citizen participation in the democratic process through active involvement in the community. We facilitate activities which will advance and protect the long-term interests of the community. Membership is open to any individual who wants to join with others to make a difference. Guess what? We have a meeting coming up. Pray for our air meeting.
Okay.
It'll be on, tell them, December the 7th. You remember what time? 6 p.m. 6 p.m. at Allen Chapel. That's 6175 Scenic Highway. And we're looking forward to everybody showing up, turning out. And, I got kind of frustrated one day.
Okay.
Exxon has had a couple of more spills, each of which they said were, well, they just said it wasn't nothing didn't happen, so forth and so on. But each time I, found out about it, it was from somebody else, that didn't live in the community, giving me a call saying something was up.
Right.
So on the first time, I made 57 telephone calls, and I made 50 texts, for anybody to tell me what had happened that lived on the fence line.
Wow.
And I think out of all those 5 people, maybe 6, returned my inquiry, and guess what each of them said? What happened?
Oh, wow.
I said, you living up under the plant. I was at work, I wasn't home. Nobody in your family was home. None of your neighbors was home. Nobody was home. You know, sometimes you get so frustrated. You like, you know, and then they say, well, let me know what when you find out what happened. Nah, you know, I'm just like, I'm one individual trying to help. You can't, you can't. Everybody can't lay on me. You know.
That's true. I feel the exact same way about a lot of things.
I was just.
Matter of fact, that's my pet peeve.
Is it look like that's mine?
My pet peeve for the month.
You know, everybody. If it's not important to you, why you think it's gonna be important to somebody that's making millions, billions of dollars? You know, oh well, you know, I got to go make. Lord forgive me. I got to go make $7.20 hour. I'm leaving my kids at home to sniff up poison, and that's my $7.20 hour, the most important thing in the world. I done left grandma, you know, I left grandma and the kids.
Yeah.
No exit plan. You know what I'm saying? Nothing. Everybody's sitting around waiting for the big accident.
You know what?
What?
They do tell you that in your house, and this is really on a small level. In your house, you should have a fire exit plan.
For anything. But here you live up under one of the most toxic, explosive. They making stuff that explodes. And you too busy to try to get an exit plan at least.
Or you live in Louisiana, hurricane plan.
No kind of plan.
You ain't got nothing. Something happened, you just confused.
Right.
Sitting around looking bewildered.
And this is a thing that really is kind of frustrating to me. You know, I have called and written and filled out the paperwork for emergency preparedness. While I'm jumping through hoops trying to get them to come on and, you know, present at a community meeting, I discovered that they have spent money to send playmakers to do a play to 4-year-olds on what to do in case of a chemical emergency.
Wait. 4-year-old that can barely put a sentence together, they gonna know what to do.
Right. And nobody not gonna listen.
No.
You know.
4-year-old start telling you what to do during an emergency. The first thing they gonna get told is shut up, sit down.
But folk making money. And just forgive me for just putting it out like that.
But you know what though? I can say sometimes little kids knowing stuff is good.
I agree, but the daddy and the mama need to know first. The person that can drive, the person that can reach the window.
You remember that show, Rescue 911?
Vaguely. And
there was always little 5 and 6-year-olds that had been watching this show that knew how to dial 911 and knew how to do CPR. But adults need to be educated on those things too.
There's more than 5,000 people living within 2 miles of one chemical plant. Now come on. So you gonna teach the 4-year-olds, the same 4-year-olds that are going to look. Not it's just the opposite. Not the 4-year-olds that's going to the what do you call it, Head Start or whatever it is. That's closest to the plant. Not them. Not the early Head Start. Not the ones that USA Today listed as one of the top highest with indoor air pollution. Not that one. Those don't get the the playmakers with the songs and everything to tell them what to do in case of a chemical emergency. Not them.
Okay.
The other kids.
The kids who is nowhere near.
Right. That's the ones.
Well,
but guess what?
Over there with them.
That care.
Yep. That things they should know.
That's right. And guess what? It's more than just one person saying, this is what we need for our kids. But I'm going to be honest with you. As I go about to and fro and I talk to the kids, and you see a group of kids, you say it's a group of, let's say, 7 kids. You say, anybody got asthma? And they start, out of that 7, 3 of them have asthma and 2 of their brothers and sisters. They can barely get a breath. And when our chemical plants go over the amount of emissions, and this is what I'm trying to stress, the federal government has put guidelines out as to how much they're allowed to emit. I believe, and many others, that the levels are too high. It's too high for human beings to live under day after day after day. But that's what they can emit legally. But instead of just staying at the levels they're allowed, they just put stuff out anyway.
Yep.
Most stuff. Over the amount. And although they're, in some cases, one of the biggest companies in the world, their tanks are all rusty. you know. They ain't put nothing. Now if the tank rusty on the outside, what you think going on the inside?
I tell you, I saw the other day when I was flying.
What did you see?
Uh-huh. They have some of the tanks that are empty.
Oh.
They don't look too
They don't
right.
look good. They done had to take their product out so it won't leak all on the ground. But if it's all about the profit. It's all about the profit. Now you laying up under it every night, just satisfied. Oh, I think they let out more, but I'm not gonna call. I'm not gonna complain. What you think they gonna do? You think they're gonna use their influence to stop? How they say the crying baby get the most milk? And it's not going to be, at least I'm not going to get involved in no situation where we going to go get some crackpot, crooked lawyer to come make a couple of $1 million himself, give everybody $300, and they keep on with the same old. That's not the way that ought to go. Anyway, I've gone on and on and on, but we need to pray. We need to pray for strength. We need to pray for discernment. We need to pray for clean air. And we need to pray for each other. It's another thing I have noticed is that we are not talking to each other. Neighbors don't want to be bothered with neighbors. Everybody into themselves. And it is so disconcerting when I say, well, did your neighbor did you and your neighbor talk about the latest smells and stuff? But let me tell you a good one. And they're like, I don't talk to her. Like, my goodness, you live next door to her. How can you ignore your neighbor next door, across the street, won't speak, got to turn your head the other way to pretend when you taking the garbage out or go and get your mail that person don't exist? And you expect to get into heaven?
Well,
they ain't having none of all that up in heaven.
I don't think people are thinking that far ahead.
What?
They're not thinking that far.
You expecting you gonna be, I don't associate with her. This a matter of life and breath.
I don't like that, life and breath.
And you not gonna tell her nothing? You come to the meeting, but you're not going to give out no information. And lastly, let me say this. I've been on a little tirade.
Right.
Write it down, call it in.
Oh, yeah. That's important. Do that first.
Have your kids write it down, call it in. Because guess what? When you get ready to do a lawsuit, you can go back to the date, the time.
Right.
People don't want to know they do that all the time. That's just like if somebody come to rob your house, they steal your flat screen TV. all your money, everything but your Bible. And the police, you think you gonna call the police? Let me just ask you that. Most people gonna call the police. When the police get there, the police say, well, when did the break-in occur? They gonna know. They gonna say. It happened between 8 and 5 when I was at work. But my kids got here at 3, and they noticed the TV gone. It's gonna be some detail. Well, here's somebody stealing the very breath out of your lungs. The very breath, the breath of life out of your lungs. And here you are. Oh, I don't know when it happened. They do that all the time. But if they take that darn flat screen TV, you're going to have plenty. You going to call?
Well, you know what?
What? But not for long. We're going to be walking around with tanks on our backs. You know, if they keep it on like they keep it on, and nobody don't say nothing. Yeah. We're going to have to get air in our mama name, you know, because our credit's so bad.
Oh, goodness.
You know, that we're not going to be able to go down and get credit, because, you know, you got to breathe all day, every day, in and out, 365 days a year.
You know they have a movie about that.
Do they?
Yeah, it's a cartoon. Remember the movie The Lorax?
No.
That's actually what it's about. It's a wonderful movie, and in the movie they live in a town, and the whole town is in a bubble because the pollution outside of the town is so bad they don't have any trees.
What?
Everything on the inside of the town's bubble is plastic, and they order their air like the same way, you know, like the waterman comes to your house with a big jug.
Oh, no.
Yeah. They've never seen a real tree. It's a very good movie.
You're going to have to write that down for me, because I'm not aware of that. You're listening to Let's Talk. I'm your host, Stephanie Anthony, and guess what? While in the midst of joy during this Thanksgiving time, there is sadness. Environmentalist, advocate Albertha Hastings passed away. And for anybody that, you know, kind of knew Albertha, people call her, used to say she was larger than life. She's an African American woman, a staunch environmentalist that was always in the face of EPA and others talking about the pollution here in Louisiana, and also about being just. And I'd like for you to give us a little song for Albertha, if you would.
Yeah, it would have been better if you would have told me that's the kind of song you wanted.
Well, you wouldn't look up.
I've been looking at you. I've had the song ready since you said it at the beginning of the show. You didn't say you wanted a memorial song.
Didn't that play when we were coming in? Alright, if you bring my I'm gonna try to read her. Give me some light. Albertha Hastings was the Iberville Parish School Board member and a community activist. She died in her home on Monday. She was 62 years old, and they say that she died of heart failure. She was a voice of the people, a true public servant. And that's a quote from her daughter, Desiree. She served on the Iberville Parish School Board for 17 years in District N. And Albertha was a lifelong resident of White Castle, Louisiana. She served for a time as the president of Louisiana Environmental she was the president until her death of the Louisiana Environmental Justice Community Organization Coalition, and she served for a time as president of the board of directors for the Louisiana Environmental Action Network, which we call LEAN. She fought against chemical pollution up and down the Mississippi River, and she organized poor people to fight for their rights for a clean environment. Her services will be held with a wake on Sunday at 5 p.m. at the White Castle Community Center, located at 32725 Bowie Street. And the funeral services are scheduled for 11 a.m. Monday at that same location, the White Castle Community Center. Albertha Hastings, dead at 62, an environmental activist and a servant of the people. She will be truly missed. I'm ready. Well, as we go forward, we're reaching the holiday season, in the midst of it, and there's always somebody trying to do the wrong thing. There is a scam out there where they're preying on the homeless. In fact, on the homeless. These two guys have been in the Baton Rouge area, and they are defrauding banks and other retailers by going to places where the homeless are and asking whether or not they have an ID, and then they'll tell them that they have work for them. Then when they leave, they take them to a financial institution or retail place with a bad check and have them to go cash it. And sometimes they tell them that they're gonna be selling scrap metal, and they have to have the ID or whatever. And actually, there was one gentleman that had a bank account at the bank that they took him to, and they cashed a check worth several $1,000s, and thereafter, when the bank discovered that this check was no good that the con men had gotten him to do, they sucked up all his money, called the police, and the Baton Rouge police, they have 10 or 15 active warrants for these guys, and if anyone has heard or know about them, first of all, warn any homeless people that, if it seemed too good to be true, don't fall for it, because there's at least one gentleman sitting in jail because he went with them and cashed a check using his ID, and he's still trying to convince the police that he wasn't part of the scam. So if you have any information regarding these scammers, please contact Crime Stoppers at 344-STOP. That's 344-STOP. Or you can contact the East Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office at 389-5009. That's 389-5009. And the Baton Rouge-based Capital Area Alliance for the Homeless wants to let everybody know that this is going on, and that they should be on guard. You're listening to Let's Talk, and I'm your host, Stephanie Anthony. We're talking about a few things in the news. We have the Bayou Classic today.
Oh yeah, today's Saturday.
Yeah.
All right, go Southern.
All right.
Woohoo.
They've been having some trouble where this is the 39th year of the Bayou Classic.
Oh, wow.
And they lost their title sponsorship with a TV deal.
Oh.
Apparently. Now, I don't know how they finally figured it out. If you know, give us a call after the show and or you can call us now.
So we don't know what station.
Well, they had a deal with NBC.
Right.
Yeah. I'm going to just, this news article says, hard economic times and the worst matchup in the 39-year history of the Bayou Classic is not a good combination for an event that has already lost its title sponsorship and is trying to renew its TV deal with NBC. So I don't have the latest on how that, fanned out, but, the thing is that the ticket sales were down for the Superdome, and this is the quote from Harry Adams. We still got to have 72,000 to 75,000 fans in the stadium on the 24th of November. We have a lot of Southern University fans who come here to Mumford Stadium on the campus and tailgate who won't go to the game, and that's bad.
Right. It's usually so many people, though, that, some people are claustrophobic is the right word. I think it's agoraphobic. They're afraid of, that many people, that kind of crowd. I haven't ever been to the game before. I tell you, I have been out there during game time, and it's normally packed. I don't know what's going on this year that's got people not going.
Well, it's the economy, and it's Southern's record, I would imagine.
Probably.
But look, y'all, don't call me with no mess. That's my alma mater. I have blue and gold in my veins, but Southern is 3 and 7. Yeah, and Grambling is 1 and 9. Right? I think that's what the article said. Let me go. But the term Super Bowl implies the best teams, great records, and the best players. Southern is 3 to 7 this season, and Grambling is 1 to 6, creating only the second classic matchup ever with two teams that have losing records. The other occurred in 2006, which started a stretch of subpar attendance in the Crescent City.
Wow. Wow. And well, that's okay. Win or lose, I love Southern, and you know what? I felt exactly the same way about the Saints. Though all those years when they lost, I was a Saints fan. I just couldn't afford to go to the games when I was young. And I remember when people started wearing the paper bags on their heads because they were ashamed for people to know they were Saints fans. I have always been a Saints fan. Sometimes that teams, they go through those streaks. I remember when everybody in Louisiana was like really big on the Dallas Cowboys because they were the closest team other than the Saints.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys had this winning streak for years. Now they're not so much at the top. I mean, they're not at the bottom either.
Well, when this article was written, they had sold 40,715 tickets.
Right.
And remember, he said they need 72,000 to 75,000 fans buying tickets by today.
Well, now we can go ahead and get on up there.
I hear you.
I bet LA Swift is running.
Oh, I was gonna say you gotta have that gas. I don't know how how close LA Swift get to it.
I get you downtown. You can get on the bus.
Oh, just a regular bus.
Yeah. So you got $15 plus the ticket cost.
You've heard it on Let's Talk. I'm your host, Stephanie Anthony. And we've come to the end of another session. I'd like to say thank you for tuning in from myself and Elijah, as well as
Me.
Sister Faith.
Yeah.
Please join us next week, same time, same station for Let's Talk.
Selection of suits, shoes, and shirts.
Alright, that happens.
Super Cool Fashions Menswear has new arrivals coming in daily.
Hey, try this one on for size.
Super Cool Fashions Menswear, open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 12:30 to 6 p.m.